Hey, Phillip, we were going to talk about adaptability today.
Good, good. Are you a very adaptable person?
What I would like to think and what might be the reality might be different. I'd like to
Yeah.
think that I'm fluid and can adjust to things. Usually, I've found out I haven't adjusted when the point of disaster hits. And then it's like, oh, I should
Yeah.
have done something 5 years ago, or I should have done something 5 months ago, or even sometimes
That's
5 minutes ago.
the key, I think, to adaptability is changing and adapting before the disaster hits, right?
Yes, yes.
And that's it. That is a real skill that an
Hmm.
entrepreneur needs to develop. And I don't think you have it automatically. I think you develop it. Um,
Okay.
and I'm not saying that I was super adaptable in the beginning,
Okay.
but I think at least I had the good sense to know that what was working in the early days, and certainly started getting clients, referrals, started hiring people. The business started growing. Yay, Rob, this is great. And the default position is we'll ride this all the way to
The Super Bowl.
expansion, the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Exactly.
right, right.
But the reality of the matter is that what you are doing today that is so profitable and is working so well and everybody wants is probably not going to be the shiny object 3 years from now, 5 years from now. You are
Okay.
going to have to adapt your business to a lot of factors, environmental factors, the market, the type of client that you may actually be marketing to changes over time as the business grows and matures. And so I found out that what we were doing in the beginning of my business, we were an IT consultancy. And in the early days, what we were doing essentially is setting up networks, maintaining networks, helping people use the networks, computer networks I'm talking about.
Okay.
And we were billing our time to do that. And we were making money, and I was hiring people and we were growing, and that was great. One thing that was a wake up call for me was I'd gone through a time where every referral that I'd gotten, I would go and make a pitch. And I guess it was so new, kind of the offering that we were making, I signed them up. And I guess the wake up call for me was the one client that I thought we had put together a big proposal, spent a lot of time on it, and they went with a competitor. And I'm like, what? Somebody else is doing what I'm doing? What? And they got the gig over me.
Right.
And so then it dawned on me, okay, you're not the only game in town. And so you've got to distinguish yourself from the other folks. Now, an easy way to do that, I'm not recommending this, but an easy way to do that is to be the lowest price in town.
Right.
Spoiler alert, you don't make much money doing that. The entrepreneur doesn't make much money doing that.
Okay.
And so I had to figure out a way that I can diversify my business to create multiple lines of income, multiple streams of income, and not just depend on this basic network services that we
Okay.
provide. And it came to me sort of as in everything in this business. I wish I'd sat down and strategized all this from the beginning, but it didn't happen. I kind of backed into it. So I'm in a law firm one day working on some network issue, and a lawyer walked through the office and said, "Hey, Philip, I am going to a deposition. And there's a gentleman that we're going to be deposing who we suspect he's hiding some information on a real estate deal on his computer. And we've asked him to bring his computer to the deposition." And this is in the early days. This probably wouldn't happen today, but back then it did. "Could you come along while we're doing the deposition and check his computer and see if he's monkeyed with the numbers?" Oh, yeah, I can do that. That's kind of what I love, sleuthing. I love that, figuring stuff out.
Yes.
And so, absolutely, it was a database program, and there was, I don't want to get into nitty gritty here, but there was a way I could determine if that value had changed at a certain time, at a certain
Okay.
date and time, a value of a real estate property or
Okay.
whatever. And I was able to prove it by
Oh,
looking at database logs and so on. And so that was very, very valuable for this attorney.
okay.
Now, what did I bill him for that? I billed him the same rate I billed to set up a printer, which was not a lot. But when I got home, I started thinking that's another level of service. And
Definitely.
the average tech, if you will, probably doesn't have that skill. I mean, I had some data analysis skills. I'm a software engineer, by the way. So I built
Right.
these. And so I began to think, and I did a little researching, and there's actually a term for this. It's called computer forensics.
Okay.
Okay. Now you could Google computer forensics today, and you will get a gazillion hits. Sure.
Services. Yeah.
Back in that, and this is probably early 2000s, when I would search on computer forensics, it would be one, maybe two pages of links. That was it.
Wow.
So it was a new type of service in the open marketplace. What I
Right.
found out was that law enforcement had been doing this for years and years. Uh,
Sure.
Raid the drug dealer's house, and you get his computer and you find out, who his suppliers are. And they're people in law enforcement, FBI, DEA, et cetera, have been doing this for years. But I couldn't find anybody that was doing it just for regular
Commercial.
attorneys. Yeah,
Okay.
commercial litigation. And so I thought, hey, if I could form a service called computer forensics for law firms, I could probably charge more. As it turned out, I could charge a whole lot more for that because it
Right.
required specialized knowledge. And so, again, I kind of backed into that, but that became a strategic decision that I made. Incidentally, this was the time I think we had talked about it on a previous episode where I had those little programming gigs on the side to help me pay the bills.
Yes.
I knew if I was going to concentrate on developing this forensics line of business, it was going to be me. I had to do it. I had the skill to do this. Had to give those up. That was when I made the decision to resign those positions.
Got
Safe
it.
income to go after this, which I thought was a differentiator for my business. And as it turned out, it absolutely was. And it
Okay.
led to really, really big things in the future. So, interestingly enough, I had a degree in computer science. So, that incidentally would qualify me as an expert witness if I were to ever called to testify about some of my work. But
Okay.
I found out that there were specific certifications in forensics, computer forensics, that only at that point in time, I couldn't find anybody to even train me to get that certification. It was law enforcement only. You had to be a part of the local law enforcement or FBI or some federal agency. I
Right.
finally found an outfit in Washington, D.C. that would let me sign up for their class so I could get certified in the forensic methodology, computer forensic methodology. So I went to that class. I was the only one in the class that was not law enforcement, either government, federal agency, or local law enforcement. As a matter of fact, the instructor found out that I was just, someone working for civil litigators, essentially, is what I was. And he would refer to me, oh, we've got Phillip here from the dark side. They referred to me from the dark side because I'm helping the defense bar.
Right.
So
Right.
that,
Keep an eye
that
on that guy. Keep an eye on
exactly.
him.
But that's just how foreign
Right.
this notion of computer forensics for defense firms or just for commercial litigation. It just was unheard of. And so I feel like I'm pioneering something. It's either going to be consequential or I'm wasting a
Right.
lot of time. And
Sure.
as it turned out, it was very consequential because that led to a whole department that we call litigation support. computer forensics and litigation support, which we were not doing in the beginning. And so what we became then, we became partners with attorneys on litigation cases, and we were working with them to find evidence, produce that evidence, and sometimes even testifying in court about what we had done. And that was a much higher end service. And one other thing that it did, it was kind of a, you know, it's kind of a woo, kind of cool. So once we had that, we got that unit up and working, I had no trouble recruiting techs because everybody wanted to do this.
Oh, okay. It was the sexiest part of the job, as it were.
Exactly. And so I would hire people on, and you do computer forensics, you do electronic discovery, you do this sort of, yeah, there's a career path in that. If that interests you,
Okay.
you start right here, but there's a place to go. There's a place to progress in the company. So in many respects, it was a fateful decision by me to start and adapting to the marketplace. I saw a need there that was not being addressed. I think I can do this. I'm going to have to put some energy behind it
Right.
and some initiative, but I did, and it
So how
paid.
long did it take for the forensic unit to get up and running?
I'm going to say probably 5 years. I mean,
Okay.
I did it a while just myself.
Yeah.
And that's really how I paid myself at that point in time.
Okay.
The rest of the business was paying for itself, generate income to really pay my salary as well. And so
Okay.
I did it. And then I would say probably 5, 7 years down the road, I hired someone that's what they did. That's all. In fact, I hired them away from law enforcement.
Oh, okay.
He was a police officer, had done that for law enforcement, and I hired him to build our own in-house computer forensics lab, which was unheard of, at least in our area, unheard of outside of law enforcement. And so we
Okay.
really had a calling card when we went to call on new clients. Yeah, we can take care of your printers, we can take care of your network, but you know what? We can also help you win cases. And here's
Mm.
tell me that did not get attention.
Right. Right. A huge
So
differentiator.
So that was one example of adapting to the marketplace, and it paid off. It was really good. Along that same time, I started working more in litigation cases, and these are big companies suing big companies, and a lot of documents going back and forth. And there were companies that were scanning documents to put them in these databases. Now, we maintain the databases. That's what my company did, and trained people
Okay.
and loaded these databases. But these other companies were coming in and they were scanning documents like by the truckloads full, and they were charging by the page. And it was easy money.
Okay.
You could hire students probably to do this overnight, and they were making big money. And I'm like, you know what? I'm missing out on some revenue there. So
Mhm.
I'm going to investigate this. What do I have to invest in? I have to invest in some big industrial strength scanners, copiers, etc. I got to hire some people to manage this. I started looking at the cost, and then I started doing a little research. And there were 3 or 4 companies in town that were kind of doing this in a big way, particularly for the legal community. You also had companies doing it for a medical community as well. And I started checking around, and like, this guy's charging a dime a page. And then, oh, wait, no, this guy over here, he cut his down to 8 cents a page. Oh, well, this guy over here, he says nobody's going to beat him. He's a nickel a page. I'm like, what? It's a race to the bottom to see who can charge the
Right.
lowest. I don't want to be in that race. I don't want to be in a race to see how much I can reduce my revenue based on my investment. And so I made the decision we're not going to do that. Even at the time, it looked like big revenue, but I could
Right.
see the future of it. It was not going up. It was going the margins were going down big time. And as a
Of
matter of fact,
course.
that business died, absolutely died over time.
Okay.
So I'm thankful I didn't invest in that. And that was an opportunity I considered, very seriously considered, but we didn't go that route, thankfully. A third thing that we did, I never did anything with website design. I'm not a graphics person, so that's just not my gig. And so I never tried to set up websites. I hired somebody to set up my own website. And so it's something that really didn't interest me because I didn't have the skill to do it. But I
Sure.
had a guy working for me at the time, and he was good at it. He goes, you know what? He came to me and he said, you know what? Why don't we're, we have law firms, we have clients coming to us and say, hey, do you guys do websites? And we'd refer them to somebody. He goes, we can do that in-house. I'm like, let me look at this. I looked at some of his work and it's pretty good. And so I'm like, you know what? Let's do it. I love it. And, congratulations,
Right.
young man. You're thinking outside the box. You've brought in
Yep.
another line of revenue. And so we did a few of those, but it was painful because the back and forth, you're never done. It's
Right.
always nobody wants to pay for the maintenance or changing this or changing that. And over time, it became a drag. And I was dependent on this one person who I needed to do other things to be doing the website. We weren't making a ton of money on it, and it was
Okay.
it was burdensome.
Yes.
And so after a while, maybe after a year, I said, you know what? Let's just start referring these people. We're not a website development company. We can't do it
Yep.
better than the company down the road that's all they do it better.
Right.
So why are we doing it? We're not making money off of it. We're just
Right.
providing a service and making a small margin. So I nixed it. We tried it. We weren't going to become a web development company. And so I saw that and we said, okay, experiment's over. We're not doing that anymore.
Right. Okay. Seems like on your three examples here, you've got the legal forensics became part of your identity. The other two never raised beyond services, and the services, one, you didn't do at all, but it was like, here's a service. The legal forensic was a service that then became part of your identity. The other two stayed at a service level and then either dropped off immediately or dropped over time when it became clear it was not going to be able to be part of your identity.
Exactly. And those other two, the one that we didn't do and the one we tried for a while and nixed, the only way that we could be better than the guys down the street was if we charged less. And so the only way we could get business is to bring our margin closer to zero. For me, that's not a formula for success.
Okay.
And I saw other ways that we could computer forensics. The guy down the street's not doing that. So it's a premium service that is rare. So you could
Right.
charge more for that. And so that was worthwhile. And it did become part of our identity, no doubt about it. And it was instrumental ultimately in the sale of our business, believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
you think adaptability is a mindset? How did you feel like you stayed adaptable over time?
You have to keep an ear close to your client. You have to hear what's going on in your client. And one thing I regret as I grew the business larger in the latter years, I didn't hear the client as much and I lost touch a little bit. I had other
Okay.
people
Okay.
doing that, but I felt like I was losing touch of the market because when you are among your clients and you're out in the marketplace, you're picking up signals. You're picking up what is important to them. And what's important to them needs to be important to you because if there's some new itch, you need to be scratching it. And so to me, that was the most important thing is watching very closely and not going to sleep on what had worked great last year. You need to constantly be looking to see, okay, how is my client responding today? And is there some new desire, some new
Sure.
need that I can adapt to provide that and grow my business and be stickier to that client. That was the other thing. We tried to be very sticky with our clients, so it made it difficult for them to move to another service provider. And that was what we did at the end is we tried to get our tentacles into that client as many ways as we could. So it was very painful for them to fire us.
Got it. Was that you being on site all the time? Was that taking the key decision makers to lunch? How did you keep your ear close to the ground, as it were, for all the different clients?
All of the above. Being
Okay.
on site, periodically, just you couldn't meet with every single attorney or whatnot, but you could, whoever was sort of the manager, managed the relationship with my company,
Right.
set up quarterly meetings with them.
Okay.
And beyond that, I would make it a habit. And I told my techs this later on after I hired, had a whole big staff, and all they wanted to do was sit in their cubicle on a computer and do things remotely. I go, guys, and I know business has changed, but I'm telling you, there are things that you pick up by just walking through the office.
Of course.
You absorb things, you absorb the atmosphere, you hear things, you pick up nuances that you don't get from being remote. And that's I'm sad to say that's where tech support has gone these days, and I understand why. It's economics, but there's something about the personal touch and being on the site. There were times I didn't have any need to be at a particular client. I was not billing anything, but I would
Sure.
just go and I would walk through the office and I would stop and talk to people. Number one, it's good PR, but number two, I'm listening.
Mm.
What are they talking? What's important to them? How does that impact what I'm providing? I don't think there's any substitute for that.
No, there isn't. There isn't at all. That's really good. Well, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing those keys. Great examples there of success, I guess success twice. One you ran with and the other you didn't run with. And then the other one, which was you got to try new things, even if they don't pan out, to find out what's going to happen.
And I don't regret doing that. We
No.
had to try it. We
Yeah.
had the means. It was a heavy investment, but in the end, when it wasn't super profitable, I'm like, hey,
Right.
let's not do this anymore.
Yeah. That's perfect. Well, thanks so much for your time and thanks for sharing that, Phillip.
Stay adaptable, Kent.
Thanks.